Hello, welcome to Liz Rocks and Stuff. I'm Liz. It's time for episode 40 of What's in My Tumbler, starting out with Obsidian. By the way, I am going to ask for some help. I would like some feedback on my videos, particularly in how I'm shooting them, how I'm editing them, how I'm putting them together. Do you like it? Do you not like it? What would you like for me to change? And primarily my catalyst for this is that I'm trying to mix things up a little bit, and I also have a second camera angle now. And I tried a little bit of things with how I put these together. Each of these barrels was shot and edited a little bit differently. I'd like to know what you like, what you don't like. Let me know in the comments. Anyway, getting back to this is Obsidian. This is batch 2 of the Obsidian coming out of stage 4. So I am going to first put these through a bit of a soap cycle, but first I want to kind of show you how these are looking. So some closer up shots that my GoPro apparently doesn't focus up close very well. I just discovered that, so that's nice. And then I'm just going to put these all back in the barrel and put them into a soap cycle, a burnishing cycle for stage 4. That's 3 tablespoons of borax and a bunch of water, and then let that go for a few hours. I do my burnishing cycles about 6 to 8 hours. Some people do overnight. Whatever you like, whatever works best for you, that's what you should do. I'm actually thinking about switching to ivory soap, not for the burnishing because that does need to be borax, but for, ivory soap for burnishing. I don't know. I'm still playing with that idea. But anyway, so it's come out of the burnishing cycle, and now we're going to go and rinse them off. And then I'm going to combine these with my other batch, so batch 1 that was finished last week, and I'm going to kind of show you what they all look like. The Midnight, which I've been calling it Midnight Web Obsidian, I think it's actually called Midnight Lace Obsidian, is the bigger, mostly black pieces, and then the Snowflake Obsidian is the smaller pieces with the gray snowflake pattern in it. The bigger pieces did not tumble very well, especially that thin piece in the upper right. It chipped pretty badly, and they're all fairly bruised, and I'm contemplating breaking them up into smaller pieces and tumbling them again. I think they would have a better finish, but overall they're not bad, but you can see some of, I'm trying to show the lines. You can see very faint white lines running through them. That's the Midnight Lace part of that. But you can also see where they're sort of chipped and bruised on the corners and the edges. That's another of those white lines. That one's actually pretty cool looking. Kind of looks like a tooth. And then the Snowflake Obsidian all turned out fantastically. No complaints about the Snowflake Obsidian. It's shiny. It looks great. It didn't bruise that I can see. So that's why I'm thinking about breaking the Midnight Lace Obsidian down into some smaller pieces and tumbling them instead. You'll see that there's some chipping and crevices and things that just did not do well with the bigger pieces, whereas the smaller pieces turned out fantastic. All right, moving into Catdog Season 2. This is also coming out of Stage 4. And this is a mixed batch. So my expectations when I have a mixed batch, especially when it's just a mix of a bunch of stuff, is that some things are going to turn out great and some things are not going to turn out very great at all. And that's what happened with this. And it's also probably what's going to happen with whatever's left. That batch is such a mix of things that who knows what's going to turn out. But that's my expectation. So this batch is a piece of cheetah jasper, a bunch of labradorite, a bunch of fire quartz, and a bunch of just random rocks of various things from various places. So some of these things turned out really great, and some of them did not. But first things first, put it in a burnishing cycle so that we can get all of that polish off, and we can see exactly how shiny they got. If you leave the polish on, it's not going to be shiny. You gotta rinse the polish off. So we're going to do 3 tablespoons of borax and then put them on. Now this is also, I believe, the barrel that I replaced the seal on. So it did much better this week. It didn't look chunky at all. It was actually really hard to pull the lid off. So it did much better with the new seal. I feel like that was the right call to replace the seal on this. I might go ahead and replace it on my other older barrel. And see, I'm not having issues with it, but anyway, so this is what I'm talking about. I have these new angles. I'm not sure how to use them or where to use them, so if you can give me feedback on, like, I really liked seeing it with the sorting, but I didn't like seeing it when you're rinsing, things like that. Just how am I using these angles and how I'm editing my videos? I would love feedback on that, because I'm just sort of doing what I want, and that doesn't mean it's good. It just means it's easy and what I'm comfortable doing. But I want to be better. So we'll see. Anyway, this is really, really sped up sorting of this. Upper right is labradorite, cheetah jaspers on the upper left, barrel all the way to the left, fire quartz bottom left, mix of things on the bottom, and then bottom right is aventurine. And then a bunch of chips. I like to use these chips in like my smaller planters. I have some shamrock plants and some fake succulents because I can't keep real ones alive. I like using them in those kind of settings. I think they look really nice. Just a mix of tiny little rock chips. So I'm going to go through these and show some close up after I've dried them off. That is a very clear piece of quartz. It looks like glass. It's so clear. It's hard to see in this unfocused lens, but it's actually really pretty up close. Now that's the labradorite. It still has that flash that you expect, but it is not shiny at all. I wonder if those would do okay in a vibratory tumbler. I have a bunch of rocks set to the side that I want to try in a vibe, like my amber, fluorite, labradorite. So once I have enough to justify the cost of a vibratory tumbler, maybe I'll get one and start using it. But those are good for softer rocks. But the labradorite, I'm kind of disappointed in how they came out, but they're soft and they're hard to tumble anyway, so I'm not surprised. So that's a mix of agates and jasper. That's all of my quartz. That's a piece of amazonite. It's actually really pretty, one of my favorite rocks from that batch. All right, rainbow tiger, that is still in stage 1. And no surprise to anyone, this is some red slurry. I do end up cleaning off the seal in the barrel a little bit because that's a lot of buildup in there. But this is coming along nicely. Tiger's Eye is a harder rock. It tends to take a little bit longer. So this is me scrubbing off the lip of the barrel. You want to kind of keep those as clean as possible. And then I'm also cleaning off the edge of the lid, the seal, because I don't want anything to get in there and encourage water to leak out. So kind of showing a close-up here. This is sped up because otherwise this would be forever long, of kind of why I'm opting for some of these to stay in stage 1, where you can see how kind of rough and divoted they still are in places, where some of them are very smooth and nice, so they get to go in the cup to be waiting for stage 2, whereas the ones going into the barrel are staying in stage 1. So that one had still a little bit of a lip on it. Some of these are just going to take a long time to fully smooth out. I may give up on some of them at some point if I'm tired of it and want to move them all along. I do that sometimes when they're good enough to move on. So that's all of the tigers I sorted. So now I'm just kind of pulling out some of the bigger fill chunks. And then I'm going to put all the rest of those into the stage 2 cup because they're small and they're just going to get in the way. And I want to try a different type of fill. So I have, I also do resin projects on the side. And I have a lot of failed resin casts that I don't know what else to do with. So I have cut them up into chunks, and I'm going to try using them as filler in tumbling. I think it should work. I don't think there should be any issues with it, but that's what I'm going to attempt to do. So I'm going to fill up, this is my blue Tiger's Eye, and then I have this cup of, it's labeled number 1 because this is stage 1 resin pieces. You can't move resin up. So when I move these to stage 2, I have to leave this resin behind for stage 1 and use different clean resin just for stage 2, and then also stage 3 and stage 4. Because the grit can get embedded in the plastic, you don't want to move that on, because if it grinds out and that grit gets released, then it can ruin your whole batch. I don't think it has a huge impact, but it is something that I have been told, and I believe that it sounds okay to me, so I'm just going to go with it. All right, so that is Rainbow Tiger staying in stage 2 or stage 1 with some things that are ready for stage 2 eventually. And now we have whatever's left. This is whatever has been not ready to move on with its regular batch. Things that have been sitting around waiting to go into stage 1 or stay in stage 1 for a while. Again, this is a mixed batch of stuff. It's things from other batches. It's rocks I found outside that I don't know what they are. So that's the one thing I'm waiting on that rock to grind out before it's ready for stage 2. A lot of these are just really ugly, really bumpy. And they may be candidates for taking a hammer and breaking them up and see if they do better in smaller pieces. And I know this is too sped up for you to really see, but I feel like if I do it in normal speed, it's going to be a really boring video. But if you guys want me to slow this part down and talk more about exactly what I'm seeing that's causing me to say this needs to stay in stage 1 longer, I'm happy to do that and help be a little educational, because I know some people ask a lot of questions about, well, how do I know if my rock is ready for stage 2 or not? And the answer to that is, do you think it's ready for stage 2? Or do you like the way it looks overall? Then you can move it to stage 2. If you think it needs more time in stage 1, you put it in stage 1. But specifically what I'm looking at, I'm happy to slow that down. And this is another cup of some stage 1 rocks that I had. Looks like some moonstone, some quartz, some other things in there. This is going to be just a very mixed batch of rocks. So these are going to be staying in stage 1. That is 3 tablespoons of stage 1 grit. I lost my train of thought. I had no idea what I was going to say. 3 tablespoons of stage 1 grit, and get these buttoned up and back on the tumbler. And now I have 2 empty barrels. What am I going to put in them? I am apparently going into my green phase. So the first one is going to be this green tree agate. It's really pretty. I like this stuff. I've not tumbled this particular, well, I haven't tumbled this in large batches. I've had a piece or two in some mixed batches, but I've never tumbled a batch of just green tree agate. So this will be fun. I like the green and white in it. And then this is bloodstone. I have tumbled dragon bloodstone, but I've not tumbled regular bloodstone. So dragon bloodstone, it's this, plus it has a maroon color in it. I'm not sure what causes that bit of color change. Probably the minerals that are around it when it's forming. That typically is what causes colors. But I've done bloodstone. I've not done regular bloodstone. So this will be fun. I like the color of it. I like that dark green. So that's what I am doing now. So as of next week, I have everything still in stage 1. I've got Rainbow Tiger, whatever's left, Green Tree Agate, and Bloodstone, all still in stage 1. Hopefully they don't go and all come out of stage 4 at the same time, because that would be a very long video to edit. But I think it'd be interesting, but I don't know that I would want to watch that video. Anyway, so moving into next week, please leave me your comments below on the editing of these videos. What do you like seeing? What do you not like seeing? Am I not videoing parts that you want to see? Do you want me to discuss more of, why I make decisions on where rocks go as far as stage 1 to stage 2? What would you like to see? I'd like for this channel to be educational to a degree. I'm not an expert, but I don't mind sharing what I do know. So I would really appreciate hearing what you have to say, good, bad, otherwise I would appreciate it. This change this week was brought on by something my dad actually said, that his suggestion for how I could make things better. I do appreciate getting criticism. I don't mind it at all. So please let me know what you feel like I can be doing better. And thank you for watching, and I hope to see you back next week.